I try to share with you today. The chat box is open for you. You can ask as many questions as you want. We want this to be very beneficial to you. So, though I'm going to move very steadily through my slides, do not hesitate to share a thought, ask a question, raise a query. That would help all of us to become clearer, okay, in what we're thinking through today. I hope I don't go too fast. You can definitely slow me down at any point in time, but I also don't want to, I want you to get the most out of this time that we have today. So I'm going to try and share my screen, and I hope it is visible to you. Yeah, are we on?
Yes, Reena, we can see.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to move this down a bit. Yeah, thanks. So today my outline to you is, I would like to just explain to you at a slightly formal level, some clear understandings on what is physical health, how is it different from mental health, with a bit of emphasis on women's mental health. Okay, we'll also try to understand what is the difference between mental health and mental illness. Then we're going to come to a very interesting topic, neurodiversity, which is which is our field at Brindavan. Lightly touch on the prevalence of the disability so that you are exposed to the, to what all is happening. Finally, I will wrap up with our special role as women, as caregivers, what kind of stress we face, and some very, very doable strategies. Okay. Let's understand what is mental health. Good mental health is when you feel positive about yourself, when you can cope with your daily pressures. It includes how you think, how you feel, how you act. Okay. It also determines how you handle your stress, how you relate to others, and how you make healthy choices. It's about maintaining a positive state of well-being. Okay. All the sentences are very, very, it's heavily loaded. Okay. Though they're general sentences, they are very, very important that you absorb each of these sentences. Mental health is important at every stage of life. Be it a child, be it a teenager, as well as adults. Mental health includes your emotions, it includes your psychological frame, it includes your social well-being. Okay. Now, physical health is how your body is functioning. Okay, your organs. Physical health is maintained by getting the right quality and quantity of sleep, eating a nutritious diet, being active, and limiting all unhealthy consumption. Mental health is a state of mental well-being. Okay, it is not just the absence of mental illness. Okay, I hope you're with me. Okay, so this is very important because just because you're not mentally ill does not mean that you are in a state of mental well-being either. Okay, it's how we think, feel, and act. Are you a well-balanced person? You can ask yourself that. In other words, can you cope with life's stress? Everyone's mental health has ups and downs. Okay, that is life. But if you've noticed some signs or symptoms of mental health difficulties, okay, if you're having trouble coping and you're noticing it, it's very, very important that you try to seek the right support as soon as possible. Mental health and physical health go hand in hand. You see, if you ignore one, the other gets affected. For example, supposing you know you're depressed, and this is going on for years, and you don't do anything about it. You are placing yourself at risk for severe chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Similarly, the presence of chronic conditions can increase the risk for mental illness. Okay, so if you know you're unwell, or if you are seriously unwell, and you do not pay attention to your mental well-being, it's going to be a double difficulty for you. Okay. So looking at some very brief, clear outline. Okay, good mental health indicators. I would encourage you to ask yourself these questions. Okay, ask yourself these questions, analyze yourself. This is a time of great time to introspect. Usually we don't even allow ourselves to indulge in this kind of a thing, but it's very, very important. Do you have a positive outlook to life? What does that mean? That means, can you focus on the good things even though there's so much other stuff happening? Okay. Do you possess a sense of self-control over your life? Okay. When there's a bad time, do you like lose it? Or can you regulate yourself? Okay. Can you regulate? Can you recognize, okay, I need to take a deep breath? Do you have a sense of perseverance? What is perseverance? The ability to continue to persist though there are difficulties. Okay, it's like you never reach that point where you say, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here. Resilience. What is resilience? It's the ability to bounce back. That means I blow up, that's fine, I cry, that's fine, but I'm able to bring myself back to a point of stability. Okay, to bounce back due to a kind of a flexibility or an adaptability that helps you cope with your situation. It's important to accept imperfections in self and others. Okay, that is human frailty. It's we really can't question, how can this person be like that? That person is like that. Okay, so we have to accept the imperfection. When I say accept, I don't mean we don't do anything about it. No, I just mean that you need to start by understanding that people are the way they are. Okay. Accept human frailty and the human nature. And with that will come this opening to understanding ways to nurture compassion and tolerance. You see, if you do not accept somebody, you can't do anything about it. Neither you can improve, neither you can help somebody else. What about social competence in relationships? Ask yourself, if looking at most of your relationships, if you are able to, if you possess the kind of skills to get along with others. No, I don't mean great friends. I mean, when you have a difficult person, can you find the skills within you to function with that person? That is social competence. Not overwhelmed with emotions, right? So there are tough times and very emotional times, but we should not reach a stage where we face like an emotional overload, okay, where you just can't handle it and you're going crazy. So that's when you know your mental health is at risk. Okay, a little more on good mental health attributes. So people with good emotional health, they have a positive self-esteem, a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, positive outlook, and autonomy. Okay, so you have to feel strong. You have to feel strong inside you. Though the situation outside is challenging at times, and you feel you don't know what to do about it, that doesn't mean that you lose your inner strength. Okay, do you want to read that box too? It is defined as the ability to accept yourself and others, adapt to and manage emotions, and deal with the demands and challenges you meet in life. It's a lot of things, but it is possible and it is important, okay, that we learn these skills. So let's look at some differences between mental health and mental illness. Mental illness, also called mental health disorders, refers to a wide range of mental health conditions. Okay, they are disorders that seriously affect your mood, your thinking, and your behavior. Some examples would be clinical depression, anxiety disorders, eating disorders, addictive behaviors. While low mental health can sometimes be overcome through practicing self-care techniques, mindfulness, etc., mental illness cannot. Mental illnesses are caused by biological factors and chemicals in the brain. It requires continuous support of a medical and psychological professional. So let's just take a look at this and see if we can relate to all these, the clouds, The clouds are always happening. And to understand that many things, we shouldn't blame ourselves. We shouldn't feel bad about ourselves, because life holds a lot of experiences. Yeah, if you just look at all these things on your screen, I'll give you a few seconds to try to relate to them. So how you would treat some childhood experience, perhaps, a death, perhaps, a personality trait like being introverted, perhaps some violence, some trauma, right? These are things we may not have experienced all these points, but we would have experienced at least half of these points. And everybody does go through these things, because that is what life is. So just to make it very formal, look at the screen on your left. I've given you some signs of high functioning anxiety. Just look at these points. So on the outside, ask yourself if you are like this, and on the inside, ask if you can see, if you can recognize some of these points. Okay. So very often our anxiety manifests as the left. Hardworking, detail-oriented, highly organized, highly ambitious, outwardly very calm. Inwardly, what is happening? Inwardly, we are finding it very difficult. Okay, we're finding it very difficult. Day by day, it's becoming very, very tough. Okay, and on your right, you also have two columns to help you to compare healthy person and a person who's struggling. So when you're experiencing mental well-being, you can use sound judgment, you can accept responsibility, you tend to be optimistic, you're able to perceive, you're able to recognize your limitations. Okay. Here are some signs that you should always be alert to, yourself as well as others. Okay. These are symptoms that should not be ignored. Feeling anxious and worried, feeling depressed and unhappy, regular emotional outbursts, prolonged sleep problems, changes in weight and appetite, quiet and withdrawn, substance abuse, feeling guilty or worthless, changes in behavior or feelings. I know there are a lot of stigmas related to talking about mental health. So we hesitate because we don't want to be judged. We don't want people to think we can't do it, that we are lesser than them. We don't want to be pitied. We don't want to be defined also by our situation, by the limitations of our situation. However, the longer mental health conditions go untreated, the more severe they become. So it's very important that we normalize mental health. Okay, the way we talk about a fever or a pain or any kind of illness, we need to be able to say, I had a bad day yesterday, I went through something really traumatic recently, or I'm not myself because I'm going through this situation. Okay. Even in children, we find that, their mental well-being is being compromised because of a lot of pressures on them. Academic functioning, grades, performance, a lot of, success-oriented kind of approach to life. Let's look at a mental health continent. Okay, so healthy people take things in their stride. Okay, they are active, they have a sense of self-confidence. Okay, then you come to this next box where we have seen ourselves when we are going through something tough. We get irritable, we can't take ages to sleep, we're not energetic, we have difficulty relaxing, intrusive thoughts, decreased social activity, right? That's important to note. Then what happens if the stress is too much to take? We will experience significant impairment. What does that mean? Where this anger is coming in the way, this anxiety is coming in the way, the sorrow is coming in the way, sense of feeling worthless, hopeless, cannot do anything, avoidance of social situations and withdrawal. Okay. Now the last column where you definitely need help. We definitely need help. Clinically, you can get diagnosed. significant difficulty with emotions, with thinking, high-level anxiety, panic attacks, depressed mood, feeling overwhelmed, constant fatigue. Okay, so like Uma was saying in the beginning, when you tell somebody take care, what does that mean? Like, it could mean anything and it could mean nothing. So take care includes all these things. Okay, it's not just eat well. No, take care means take note of what you are going through. Become aware of what you are experiencing. We should do this. We should all do this as part of our routine. We should talk to a friend, ask them, listen, have you gone through the situation? This is what I'm facing. Cancel plans if you're not up to it. Take time off. If you want to meet a therapist, ask for one. Be open about acknowledging having a bad day, okay? We'll talk another time. It's fine to show your emotions. No problem. You couldn't manage, you tried. Good. Taking a break. Saying, I'm not okay. I don't feel okay. Speaking up. Okay. So if everybody started being open about their mental health, it would become normalized. Okay. How are you doing? How are you doing? Do you get out of bed and take a deep breath in the morning? Did you do something to support your body? Did you take a break when you need it? Are you practicing self-compassion? Are you able to shift your thoughts to what you can control versus what you can't? There's no point wasting your time over things that you can't control. Connect with someone. Acknowledge small good things in life. Okay, that will uplift your spirit. I asked for help when I needed it. I took things one moment, one day at a time. So these are things we need to look at every day and ask ourselves, how many of these things did we do? So there are 4 kinds of people in the world, says somebody. Those who have been caregivers, those who are currently caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who will need caregivers. Okay. So that basically means all age groups. Okay. So I'm coming now, I'm going to come to children. I'm going to tell you about their difficulties. So this word neurodiversity, it advocates the idea that our brains are different. All our brains are different. Whether we are typical or neurodivergent, all our brains are different. Hence, we should be treated equally, that we are each a unique person. Okay. So this word and this term neurodivergent, it originally referred to children who had very, very serious communication disorders, social communication disorders. They came under the category autism. So in this spectrum, we understood what is referred to as neurodivergent. However, now in recent years, as we are becoming more inclusive, we are aiming to describe anyone who doesn't do things in a typical manner. Okay, to those who think, behave, and learn differently to what is typical in society. Being neurodivergent should not be considered any kind of a deficit. It is simply a different way of processing the world. I'll go into it. Okay, so there are many kinds of neurodiversity kind of situations and classifications. Here are just some samples of some kids. Okay, so there is a sample of a child who writes in reverse. So can you read what is written? So the child has written, this is what mirror writing looks like. Now you try it. You know why? Because we can't do it. Our brains are not functioning in the way that their brains are functioning. You see, we are neurotypical. We can't do anything differently. But when they are neurodivergent, they do things beautifully in a manner that we would never have imagined. Okay, but they have a lot of difficulty. You know why? Because they have to fit into us. We are very demanding that they are be like us. So that is where the complication and challenge for anybody who is neurodiverse begins. See, this child's writing, the math writing, it's very shaky, it's very uneven, and the child is probably taking ages to write this. And then there's a picture of a adult hand holding the child's hand. That means the child is not able to write on its own. So these are some simple examples of what we mean when we say neurodivergent. Okay, so this is all very medically based. Okay, when fMRIs were compared, when PET scans images were compared, we can see very clearly that areas of the brain that ought to be activated during particular tasks are not. Okay. So in the control group, there is a lot of activity going on, but in the autism group, there is no activity there. Same for the dyslexic children. Okay. In the top, you can see that a lot of areas are activated. Maybe when they were asked to rhyme. In the dyslexic children, you can see the effort that they will have to make to compensate for typical areas of the brain not functioning the way that we require it to. Same for ADHD and the control group. Okay, so the ADHD activity level is very, very high. The control group is very low. More activities are in the low area than activated when like the ADHD child. Okay, so we are not talking small numbers here. We are talking many, many, many people. Okay, so in the world, people having difficulty walking and climbing is like 30 million. Those who require assistance in daily tasks is 12 million. People with visual difficulties, 8 million. Hearing impaired, 7 million. Wheelchair, 3 million. Alzheimer's dementia, 2 million. What about India? India is this graph down. Okay. You can see this. Physical disability, 41% of population. Locomotor disability, 23%. Speech disability, 5%. Hearing impaired, 8%. Visual impairment, 10%. Who is going to look after them? Now we are going to come to the caregivers. Caregiving is a complex healthcare activity. It is an informal level activity, but it is a major part of healthcare. Okay. In India, as well as across the world, it is mostly women who are the caregivers. Mothers, sisters, grandmothers, daughter-in-laws, daughters. Okay. A recent Indian study showed that 64% of caregivers had severe level of stress. 21% had moderate stress and 13% had mild stress. Why? Because women are juggling multiple roles of spouse, mother, professional, homemaker. What is happening? Women tend to put the needs of others first, leading to a delay in self-care. In today's society, women's roles are including everything. Family obligations, looking after children, looking after the elderly, as well as going out and working, as well as seeing to the home, running of the home. As the demands increase to fulfill these roles, women tend to feel overwhelmed. Okay, we have too many time pressures and too many unmet obligations. This could lead to a sense of failure. Everybody is doing, why can't I do? Everybody is doing so much, I'm not able to do anything. Often women spend more time meeting the needs of others rather than nurturing their own needs. And when functioning at high stress levels, women may not even recognize what their needs are. Okay. So what could happen? What could happen if you are so caught up and dedicated and committed to looking after somebody else? You could be prone to depression, and anxiety without even realizing it. So women have higher rates of these conditions compared to other disorders, including panic disorders and obsessive compulsive disorders than men. Heart problems. Stress affects your heart. Okay. You could have headaches, migraines, stress, weight-related issues. Okay, you are struggling to exercise and struggling to reduce your intake, but it has nothing to do with that. It's more to do with your stress. IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, fertility issues, menstrual issues. It's very difficult. Sometimes we know that the situation is very tough, okay? So you might say, my child is struggling, child is exhausted, I'm exhausted. Where is the spouse? The spouse is leading his own life. He's disconnected from the stress of the family. He's there, but the stress is not his. Okay, the caregiving is not his. I feel like I'm not doing enough, but I don't know what else to try. Sure, being a caregiver is very challenging. It brings unexpected stresses in all areas with your spouse, with siblings, and within your own self, about your own parenting abilities. You try your best to be kind, patient, and loving, but there are days you just had it, okay? There are days you just feel that you can't take it anymore. On those days, we need to find ways to manage stress. I'm going to go through some very practical ideas, very, very light ideas, which all of us should start practicing. We need to find ways to manage stress. So as a caregiver, we need to react realistically to stresses and challenges. What does that mean? That means that there are going to be bad days. Okay? It's not permanent. It's not forever. If you're feeling stressed, it does not mean that you're a bad caregiver. It is essential to find ways to manage stress by recognizing it. Do you even recognize? Oh my God, my head is spinning. I'm giddy. I'm feeling weak. I'm feeling drained. Okay. So it's essential to find ways to find somebody who can give you the kind of support that you need. Some ways you could do it yourself is by making lists. Be highly organized. Don't tell yourself, hey, it's in my head. It's fine. I'll pick it up on my way. There's enough vegetables in the fridge. We'll manage till tomorrow. Okay. If you keep everything organized, there's a chance you could be a whole lot calmer. Because there are days when you just can't do it. You can't stretch yourself that extra mile. Learn some relaxation techniques. Practice meditation, listen to music, read about mindfulness. These are all very successful strategies. Exercise. Okay. For parents of neurodiverse kids, okay, if you are a parent with a child who has several challenges, a great way to dedicate your life would be to advocate for your child. As a parent, you know your child best, you know what your child needs, you know how the system should change, you know who should do what. You can take an active role in bringing about some change. We have some amazing parents who we know who have literally brought about changes in legislation. Gather information, start working on it, gather all kinds of understandings pertaining to your child's disability. Learn your rights. There are many, many rights which we do not know about. Okay, so educate yourself well. Ask, meet a lot of people, ask, find out everything, demand to know. Principals know a lot of information they don't tell us. Teachers know a lot of information. Therapists know a lot of tips. So ask and listen. Then you can offer solutions. Work with your school, work with teachers, work with mothers, work with parents. You can do so much if you think of it as a way to improve your well-being. For all of us, it is important to plan ahead. It's very practical, okay? The plan must be oriented towards your child or your family's needs and abilities. Talk to your financial planner, your doctor, find out. People don't like to ask these questions, but you can't wish these things away. Okay, so everybody has some difficulties and some challenges. There are some time frames to be kept in mind. There are some financial expenses to be planned for. We are not getting younger. We need to understand that a day may come, we may not be able to be the caregiver for the person who's dependent on us, but we would wish for the child to receive good care. Okay, so it's very important that you ask yourself, like, what's going to happen like 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line? Am I okay for 30 years down the line for my child? After I finish, you'll be meeting an amazing parent who will tell you more. Join a community. Join a community. Find a group. Find people, like-minded people. Okay? Because you and I, if we are here today, it means we are different. Okay? So it means that we are not going to enjoy a conversation with the usual people, because we are probably not interested in fashion. We're probably not interested in many things that many people are interested in. Okay. So we need to find like-minded people, and that's where we are going to get so stimulated and so satisfied, and we are going to grow. So being a caregiver can be very isolating and exhausting. You must find a support group of mothers or special educators or women or a neighborhood, whatever. Even a hobby group, which shares your hobby. So hearing stories and tips and receiving support from other parents who understand what you're experiencing will greatly alleviate your stress. If you are going through cancer and you meet somebody who has gone through cancer, that person can uplift you the way nobody else can. That's the simplest example I can give you. Practice good self-care. Sometimes it's hard not to feel guilty about taking time for yourself, okay? But you must remember that caregiver support, specifically supporting yourself, is vital before you support your child. Not taking time for yourself, you know what happens? You become, the quality of caregiving goes down. Why? Because you're carrying so much anxiety, anger, and you're coming close to burnout. So I encourage you to eat healthy food, exercise, do something which you enjoy, ask for assistance, create a support system within yourself as well as with others. Okay, so the pictures down, I think all of us can do, should do, must do. We should exercise, we should walk, we should do stretches, we should try yoga, we should do whatever appeals to us. We should listen to music. And if we are creative, even if we're not creative, it's just so therapeutic to try something. Okay, so from today onwards, we are not going to rely on others to make us feel fulfilled. We're not going to say yes to everybody. Okay, everybody's forever wanting something of us from morning to night. We have got to learn to say, it's there, take it. Yeah, being unclear in how you communicate. Okay, so often we hesitate to say, no, I'm not doing it. Okay, so we are very unclear in how we communicate. Yeah, okay, I'll try, I'll do. Not taking or asking help when we need it, avoiding how you really feel. So that's some real, hang up we have, that we don't want to sit down and ask ourselves, how are we feeling now? Oh, we are feeling horrible. We are feeling so exhausted. We are feeling so selfish. We are feeling so miserable. We are feeling like totally drained. Yeah. So you need to sit and be in tune with yourself and understand when you have moved away from well-being, and you need to understand what are the steps you need to take to come back into that state of well-being, blaming others for your problems. So to sum it up, stress is real. It is there. It's not going to go away. It's just part of life. You need to be aware of yourself, your surroundings, your mental health. Stress isn't going away anytime soon. We need to read up on mental health, and we need to try to relate to some daily practical strategies. I gave you some strategies. It might not suit you. You can find your own strategies. Implement it with dedication. It's not just, I'll do it today, and then after 1 week, it's not done. After 1 month, it's not done. If you can't do it, you need help, and we are here. Women's stress is unrecognized. It's unrecognized. recognize it. At least we women should recognize it in ourselves. Respect your mind. Respect your mind. What does that mean? Provide it with a safety net. Okay? Provide it with support. Give it the help it needs. Don't stretch it. Parenting requires genius. Okay, really. However, I think we have it in us. With each other's support, we can find it within ourselves to do the best for our kids. All caregiving is a constant learning experience. We should head towards de-gendering of it. Okay, so that should be our aim in life now, to draw the men into this caregiving so that they too get enriched and it's a learning experience for them too. So look deep into nature and you will understand everything better. Spend time in your garden, spend time looking at greenery, and you will understand that nature has its own pace. It is perfect in its own way. Its imperfections are perfect. It cannot be rushed. And it is just at peace and in harmony with its surroundings. On that note, I end my presentation. We can now talk. Thank you.